Do you see that during a hearing, Kristi Noem said that Kilmar Abgrego will not be returning to the U.S., defying a Supreme Court decision? Listen to this.
Facilitate Mr. Abgrego Garcia's release.
Abgrego Garcia is a citizen of El Salvador and should never have been in this country and will not be coming back to this country. There is no scenario where Abgrego Garcia will be in the United States again. If he were to come back, we would immediately deport him again because he is a terrorist, he's a human smuggler, and he is a wife beater.
You've read the Supreme Court decision. Does the Supreme Court decision not require you to facilitate the return of Mr. Abgrego Garcia?
The Trump administration is complying with all court orders and judges' orders. El Salvador, it is up to the president of the El Salvador to make the decision.
You're a defendant
on
in
if
the
he is
case.
coming back. It's been a big topic of conversation between all of us. Would
But
immediately
the discussion
deport him.
ends when the Supreme Court rules 9-0 that you have to facilitate his release. And the fact that you can't even acknowledge the wording of the order, which commands you to facilitate his release, and you advertise to this committee that you are going to willfully ignore the ruling, and that is incredibly chilling for the balance.
Kristi Noem, during this hearing, was pretty much reiterating, we're going to do whatever we want, and anyone who stands in our way is the bad guy. Because during this hearing, Chris Van Hollen, the senator who went down to meet with Kilmar Abgrego, also reiterated, you're not complying with the Supreme Court order. And he reiterated that this is not just about Kilmar Abgrego, this is about due process. But Kristi Noem just continued with the whataboutism, not answering any question directly. Just continue with the whataboutism. What about the possible record that he had? What about the possible affiliations? All these things that they're claiming, they have not gone through the courts to make these claims. We're telling the U.S. government, if you believe all these things about Kilmar, bring him back and put him through the court system. Show us your proof. Look, I'm not saying Kilmar is guilty of anything they're claiming, but even if somebody is what's considered obviously guilty, you still have to go through the process. Donald Trump was obviously guilty, but he still had the right to due process. Imagine if he hadn't, how these people would have been in an uproar. These people are taking away people's right to due process and defying the Supreme Court. They're consolidating power. That's what they're doing. We are getting closer to not having laws or a state, to Trump being the law and the state.